sorry, since the ceremony started, have you heard from anyone from the other side of the world that has reached out at all?
Yeah, they felt quite a few of them felt the energy that came in surrounding them, and they said it was really an odd feeling, and all they can do is describe that. Yeah, there were just a lot of ancestors just coming in surrounding them, and they never felt that before. And so many people kind of acknowledge that and say, "Whoa, this is powerful," you know. That when we're synchronized, when we're doing basically the same things together, our energy fields connect through the crystalline grid. And so many people acknowledge that they've never been in a group setting before where they could actually feel that energy. They could hear the dialogue and all the messages that go on, but they literally felt the energy surrounding them, which was which is good. That's where we want everybody to be, surrounded with that love. That what I call that grandmother's blanket, that medicine blanket. You know. So yeah, so that was good. The other thing I wanted to share too is that each day, as we go along and we create an intention. Yesterday was throwing our intentions out there, calling in all the leaders around the world that are engaged in the war, in the developing of war. You know, we call them all in and ask that maybe war would be eliminated, that there would be other ways or other suggestions of coming to a common ground other than creating a war and killing people. It's kind of like senseless. Why are we doing that in today's day and age? We have we have better communications, we have better influence and technology, and we don't need to use the physical to resolve these issues of war. So yesterday the intention was set. Today the intention is set for all of the perpetrators of our children and all of our adults and elders. And so every day we just add to a bigger list that's being culminated. Um, the grandmothers also came in, and so on the 22nd, some of the energies are going to switch over from the grandfather realm over into the grandmother realm. And so I'm not exactly sure what they're uh, needing us to do on that particular day. What I'm feeling kind of inside of me is, as you women gather together for the ceremonies, I'm looking at maybe the grandmothers setting the intention for the days of the full moon. What do you think about that?
I always get a little nervous when you say that. That means us ladies in the group have to show up and do our part. So yes, absolutely. I think it makes sense, and I'm glad you brought up the grandmother energies and the ceremony we're actually holding. Linda, Rosa, and myself will be hosting a virtual ceremony next Wednesday, and that will be, if I can quickly pull up my calendar here, um, on the 23rd of June at 6 p.m., starting 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And there, I will share a link to the group more about that. And so we have a series of sort of intention setting and rituals that we will be together doing together um, with our community. So I encourage you to sign up, and also on Sunday, this coming Sunday, John from our team will be leading the grandfather ceremony. So I encourage you to sign up for that. I shared the link in our Facebook group yesterday, I believe. And so all the information is there. And in the meantime, we'll have, you know, Marshall show up every day as needed. And if we need to show up, the grandmother energy needs to show up on the 22nd or the 23rd or whenever it makes sense, we will show up. And just as a reminder that we're here to support each and every one of you as you're going through the ceremony. And so whether it's reaching out as we're doing the live, or if you cannot attend the live and you still need to get a hold of us, you can message us on Facebook or through our website, peopleswaveoflove.com. So I'm going to go and check on the comment section here. Since I've been pretty quiet. And so Siska, we had asked Siska how her ceremony was going, and she said that she focused on the world leaders today and everybody involved to resolve conflicts in a more peaceful way. She also dedicated the ceremony to her colleague's unborn child and to all the unborn children, given that her colleague is due very soon. And thank you, Siska, for commenting on you looking forward to the grandfather and the grandmother ceremonies. She's asking, can we, can you prepare, can we prepare us for this in a special way? So on the post that I shared, Siska, there, those two events will be, we need registration through Eventbrite. So for the grandmother ceremony, we have a short list of things that you are encouraged to bring just to help you stay comfortable throughout the ceremony. And but otherwise, it's just come as you are, and you know, we will send a Zoom link closer to date. And it should be pretty simple in that regard. And just keep doing what you're doing with the altars, your offerings, and that's it should be that straightforward. So thank you for asking that question. And so I've said what I needed to say, and I'm going to keep checking the comments. It's very glitchy in the Facebook realm right now. So I appreciate your patience and flexibility. And anything else, Marshall, that you are compelled to share with us?
Well, kind of echoing back on Siska's comments, another thing that you can do is you can take two crystals, and hold them in your hand during the ceremonies. And so those crystals will automatically connect you with all of the ancestors that are participating. The other thing that many of the grandmothers suggest is, you know, taking a container of water, you know, similar to this or whatever, and just holding it in your hand during the ceremony, and just throwing your intentions, throwing your prayers, throwing your energy into the water, and then immediately after that particular ceremony is done, you just offer it to the Mother Earth, offer it to the crystalline grid. So there's another couple of options that you can participate with. So again, put two crystals in your hand, one on the right, one on the left, or you know, you can just hold on to a glass of water. It goes back to the intention. You know, we said all along, there's no right way or wrong way to do any of this energy work. It's all based on your personal intention. And so whatever your thought forms are being given to you, you just follow through and do the best that you can with whatever you're being guided to do. That's all we're doing. We're just using the energy fields that are coming in, surrounding us, and deciphering, okay, what are they asking me to do? And so then I follow through the best way I know how. There's not a textbook that the holy ones give you and say, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to go internally and saying, okay, what is my instinctual self saying that I need to be doing? And so as long as it feels good, as long as it's contributing to the energy, then that's what I do. It's like setting up altars. There's no format or no guidebook to look at to set up an altar. It's just through energy. It's my energy focusing in on the global picture, the crystalline grid, and so I set up an altar with my own practices and my own experiences. What does that really mean to me? And so then I set up the altar, with all of the crystals, the water, and so it's all based on intention again. Like I say, there's no right way or wrong way. It's your way of how you can connect. We just offer some guidelines and some suggestions. So I hope that helps.
It does, thank you. And we've gotten some emails asking for clarification about the altars and, so Marshall, you answered it. There's no right or wrong way, there's your way. And these are all guidelines, which we always appreciate. And just leading the ceremony in a way that, it just comes from your heart. Thank you for that. And I'm just double checking the comments here and trusting that we're still live. And I'm pretty sure we are.
It's funny.
But things are pretty quiet. I think, so Linda shared her intention setting that she did for her altar today. That was beautiful, Linda. Thank you. And Siska has been sharing her journey as well. And so if we don't have any more questions or comments, and Marshall, if you don't, unless you have anything else that you want to add, we can go ahead and close this session today.
Yeah, the other thing I want to mention is ourselves, our heart energy. Doing this work, the ceremonial realms, when we're calling in all of the holy ones, all of the realms, we place ourselves in an existence, if you will, where our focus is on particular energy work. And so by doing that, we want to kind of shield ourselves from the outside energies trying to come in and influence us or, kind of distract us. And so for me, it was like, watching the elders when they were involved in ceremony. You could see that they were focused in on the present. They weren't worried about what was going on back home or, people traveling or whatever. They were focused in on the energy that's at hand. And so as I watched them, it's like I can see that they were deep in thought, deep in prayer for the intention that was created at that particular ceremony. And they were very humbled by that, and this is one thing I'll share with you about energy work is that, altars, it's a physical extension of who we are. Or drums or sacred instruments or any of those things, any of those practices like churches and, in our ways, the sweat lodges or sun dances or whatever it may be. But as we learn from our elders, we train, we experience the experience basically by going to ceremony. But the elders, they say, you know, as you go along and you become an elder and you've walked upon the earth many, many years, receiving teachings and guidance and instructions from different elders, different leaders, different spiritual people. They said eventually what happens is that as you get more wiser, I guess, with the practices and the influences and whatever, is that eventually you become that energy. You become that church. You become that sweat lodge. You become that drum. You become that sacred instrument or whatever it may be. It's just like altars. You become that altar. And so as you step into your adult years, entering into that realm of elder wisdom, what we call the wisdom keepers, you become all of that energy. And so eventually you won't even need the physical, because you are all of that within inside of yourself. And so the altars are within me, all the healing practice, everything that I've used from hence I was a little guy, I became all of that energy. And so for me, it's like the altars that I've set up outside on the Mother Earth, it's an expression of who I am, but I don't necessarily need to do that in a physical form. I can just go out and sit on the Mother Earth and I can become that altar that's physically erected out there. The reason I've created the altars is for the people who are coming up the ranks, so to speak. So it kind of gives them some knowledge about how altars magnify our energy work. And so once you have that underneath your belt, once you experience that and get proficient in it, you no longer need that physical. You become that physical. So I just wanted to kind of share that old ancient wisdom, that knowledge, that everything we do, we experience it, we massage it around a little bit for the best or the most benevolent outcome, and then we become that outcome. I didn't want to share that much because and again, like we say, there's no right way or wrong way to do any of this work. It's experiencing the intention in your way. How do you experience the intention in your way? How can you manifest that intention? So you use things, you use your knowledge, you use wisdom, you use guidance, you need instructions from mentors or whoever. But it's up to you as an individual to decide what to do, right? Because you're physically doing it, from the guidance and the instruction. I just want to share that much with everyone out there watching, is that again we emphasize that each one of us has an authority on this planet. We have a destiny, and so in that destiny realm, we've journeyed here, we journeyed there. Sometimes we don't know why we had to go there or why we had to meet these people or whatever. Sometimes it doesn't really make any sense until later on in life. I said, oh, that's why I needed to go there. That's why I needed to meet this grandmother or this grandfather at that time. So there's a lot to who we are as human beings. We have a lot of energy. We were conceived out of literally millions and millions of ancestors through the bloodline. We're very, very powerful people. We're very, very holy people walking upon this planet. And so our elders, they teach us about how powerful we really are as an individual. And so, it kind of saddens me is that many of the cultures have lost that guidance or that wisdom, through the elders. And it's very, I'm not sure Goldie, what's the right word to say? enlightenment, she says, is that when you become knowledgeable, you become enlightened with energy, and you can transfer that energy wherever you feel a need to transfer it. It's just like the grandma said, use your eyes to do the healing work. So in my realm, every day, unconsciously or consciously, however you want to put it, everything that I see, I ask a blessing for. It's just like looking at Jigna right now. I'm asking a blessing for her in the back of my mind because I'm physically seeing her. I'm offering a blessing for my little medicine blanket out here. But it's just it's like second nature to me. I'm looking outside. There's a little wind and the trees are moving around, and I can see the altar outside. So in the back of my mind, I'm asking a blessing for all of that as I'm looking around. Well, these are just teachings about how we can understand energy. Very, very powerful. Very powerful. And so for me, synchronizing globally with people around the world, for me, that is beyond the beyond. As far as energy work is concerned, it's not only me contributing to the intentional work, but it's all of us joining together, doing the same thing. And I can feel that energy just kind of bombarding all these world leaders, then all of these perpetrators, and I can feel that energy going out there. I don't know how it's going to change anything. Maybe I don't need to know that, but I know some influence is going to happen. So I just wanted to share that much today. And again, hold it in your heart. Get your heart strong. Get your focus strong, and really focus in on the actuality of the intention. What does that really mean? We're calling in all the ancestors of all those perpetrators, and we're asking the holy ones to talk with their ancestors to show them a different way. Maybe that's not to us. That's not for us to judge or to portray out there. We're just calling them in to the Creator's realm. So that's all I wanted to share. I hope.
Thank you, Marshall. That was very powerful. We have, lots of love and support coming from our community, whether it's in the comments or, as we're feeling during this time as we're doing energy work. We do have one last question from Siska, and I'll hand it off to you, Marshall, to then do a closing comment and blessings for us. So Siska is asking, can Marshall tell more about the theme of the second day?
Okay, say that one more time.
She wants to know if you can share more about the theme of the second day, probably because she's a little bit, ahead in her time zone so that she can prepare for the theme for the second day. What do you think?
You mean like tomorrow?
I guess tomorrow. So I was going to comment by saying that Marshall will be here tomorrow to share more about the theme for tomorrow. But for her, she would be waking up, at, at least 8 hours ahead.
No, I understand. I understand. Every day has its own energy field to it. And so to answer that question, is I'm not exactly sure what the holy ones are going to bring in through their realms either today or this evening. I can throw out my own intentions out there as a human, but it's kind of like when you're working with the holy ones, you have to be patient because they bring in a whole different energy field than I may ever even think of. And so there's every day it was kind of like we're going into the present time, asking the holy ones for guidance. What is it that you are asking us to focus in on this particular day? They haven't shown that for tomorrow yet. And so today, all of the energy is focused in on the intention for the day. And it's almost like that's enough. We create our energy fields, we focus in on the present time, we lend our energy to today. And then, as the sun sets, we give our final offering to the sun and ask the sun to carry our energy all the way around the planet, shine our energy all the way around the planet. That's the focus of today. Tomorrow, I have no idea. I'm concentrating on the energy of today. So once the sun sets, then I'll go back out and talk with the holy ones, talk with Goldie, and say, okay, we've gotten through this day. Our prayers are going around the world, influencing whatever needs to be influenced and lending our support that way. So now that sun has taken all of our energy, now we can clear our minds, let today's energy travel, if you will, and then focus in on tomorrow. I think that's the best way to kind of describe it. And then they'll bring in an intentional field tonight or this afternoon or whenever after the sun sets. And I'll sit with them and I'll focus in and I say, okay, so now that we completed the intention for the day, what do we need to prepare for tomorrow? I think it was 2 or 3 days ago we mentioned that, is that every day has its own uniqueness to it. And so for me, it's kind of like not projecting anything out there in my own mind of what we need to be doing, but it's just really sitting with the holy ones and saying, okay, what is the focus for today? So with that being said, I'm asking you all to just concentrate on today, on today's energy. That's more than enough. And so this morning we gave the first offering, right, for the energy of today, asking all of those ancestors, both on the mother and the father side, of all those perpetrators to come in and join us in the holy realms. And so at lunchtime or at noon, I'll offer another third of this class, kind of re-emphasizing the intentional fields, throwing my energy back out there. And then this evening, I'll offer the rest of it to the Mother Earth at sunset. And then that'll complete today's journey. So as long as this is filled, my focus is on the intention of this energy. Okay? I need to concentrate on it. All right. So I hope that kind of helps out. Any final comments there, Jigna, or anything that needs to be addressed at this time?
I think we covered everything, Marshall. And Siska, I hope that answered your question. And we will see everyone again tomorrow. And hopefully tomorrow will be a smoother ride on Facebook Live at the same time at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Rosa, I believe, will be the one leading the session tomorrow. Thank you, Marshall. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Marshall, do you want to give us a closing blessing?
Yeah. We'll continue on here. Aho. Again, we ask permission to speak with the holy realms. We thank you for this guidance and this understanding, this wisdom that you bring in for us this day. We ask that you fill our body with energy and focus, that whatever you've shown as an intentional field, that we can lend all of our energy to calling in all of these perpetrators, all the ancestors, both on their mother and our father's side, to start eliminating some of this illegal activity with our people. So I thank everyone for watching this day. I ask a blessing. I ask the grandmothers to put a medicine blanket around you, comfort you, protect you, keep you safe from harm. And I ask the grandfather spirit to watch over your family, watch over your lands, and offer protection in their way so that you can concentrate and have strength and feel secure, feel safe. So we ask a blessing on everybody's homes, everybody's families, everybody's lands. And we ask a blessing for all the inhabitants here upon our sacred planet, Mother Earth. So safe travels today, and we'll see you again tomorrow morning. So whatever comes in for you today through your holy realms, concentrate on that, focus in on that, make your offerings the best way you know how, and give it to the crystalline grid. So until tomorrow, have a blessed day. Aho.